You ready, Sylvia?
I am, Mayor.
Wonderful. All right. I'd like to call to order our regular city council meeting for January 4th, 2022. Happy New Year, everyone. Like to please everyone join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of
of the
the United States of America,
and to
and to the republic
for
which it stands,
one nation,
one nation,
under
God,
God, indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Roll call, Sylvia.
Mayor Mays,
Here.
Council President Rosner,
Here.
Councilor Garland,
Here.
Councilor Gross,
here.
Councilor Young,
Here.
Councilor Griffin,
Here.
and Councilor Scott.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Next is approval of agenda. We have one item to correct. We didn't get on the agenda. Would anyone like to make that motion?
I'll make a motion to add under item 4, add to the new business to the agenda, selection of council president.
Second.
Moved and seconded to modify the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we now have an amended agenda. Is there a motion to approve the amended agenda?
And make a motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor of the motion to approve the amended agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Motion opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. We have 4 items on our consent agenda this evening. Item A is approval of the December 7th, 2021 City Council meeting minutes. Item B is resolution 2022-001, appointing Maggie Greerhard to the Sherwood Library Advisory Board. Resolution 2022-002, adopting an executive session news media attendance policy. And the last item on the consent agenda is resolution 2022-003, authorizing the city manager to amend the professional services contract with Murray Smith to cover unanticipated costs due to project changes and delays.
Move consent.
Second.
Thank you, Renee and Doug. Discussion, all in favor of the motion to approve consent, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. Next on the agenda is citizen comments. New law going to effect this year when it comes to citizen comments. So you're able to continue to provide testimony in advance in writing, but you can also be brought into the meeting to give testimony as well. So Sylvia or Brad, is there anyone waiting to join to give citizen testimony tonight?
Don't see anyone that's not normally in this list attending, so I'd say no.
And people are put in a waiting room, essentially, correct, Brad?
We are all put in a waiting room, and I admit everybody to the meeting, and then we have the ability to remove from the waiting room if we or put them back into the waiting room if we need to.
Great. Just that's why it was my assumption too. So, so we have no one wanting to give live testimony. Sylvia, do we have any written testimony this evening?
Yes, we do, Mayor. I have one comment from a citizen.
Okay.
All right. So this comment comes from Dave Sweeney, and it says, "Dear Mr. Mayor and council members, I have a holiday suggestion to make downtown Sherwood more festive. While I love the lights and the few lighted displays in and around our downtown area, I think there are some ways to make it even more attractive. The easiest enhancement, I believe, would be the addition of lighted snowflakes 3 to 5 feet in diameter to hang off the blue light poles in the downtown area. That one addition would immediately brighten up the downtown streets. See the attached photos. I've added snowflakes to give you a basic idea of what I'm suggesting. There are also a number of downtown buildings with large undecorated exteriors. i.e. the library, the art center, the roofs of several buildings, etc., that could be used as a blank canvas for lighted Christmas displays. Obviously, it would be an investment of the lights and displays, but it would be a wonderful, wonderful addition to the lights that are already there and help take the Sherwood Christmas lights experience to the next level. Take a look at the attached pictures I've sent and see what you think. Thanks for your kind consideration. It would be fabulous to see Sherwood really sparkle during the holidays. Might even become a destination for others to come here and see the Sherwood Christmas lights. Merry Christmas, signed Dave Sweeney. P.S. The light display images I added to the downtown Sherwood pictures were taken from actual Christmas lights and display digital catalogs. They are also commercially available.
Awesome. Thanks, Sylvia. Always great to have positive, creative ideas to add to the mix. So thank you very much.
Mayor Mays, may I make a suggestion on that, if you don't mind? Well, first of all, thank you for those comments, and I appreciate all the effort put into modifying those pictures so we could have a vision. But I thought this might be something great to send to our Cultural Arts Committee to take a look at for consideration.
I would like to echo that. I mean, I told Dave we should probably take his computer away from him, but good suggestions. But I thought, wow, the art center looked really, really festive with a few extra displays. I mean, we have to start somewhere. I mean, you don't have to, but it'd be kind of fun if we did. So I think it's great that citizens are commenting on decorations. I love it. It's great.
It should be Christmas all year round. Just putting that out there.
All right, we're getting out of control now. So moving on. We have two presentations this evening. First, and I apologize, I do not have it in front of me, but I could scroll down and find it, but proclaiming today, December 15th, not today, last month, I signed it already, proclaiming December 15th, 2021 as Arbor Day in Sherwood. So a little, so we didn't have the second meeting last month. That happened. Next,
Hey, Mayor?
yes.
Isn't Arbor Day in the US normally the last Friday of April? Is this a different Arbor Day that I don't know about? Sorry.
I honestly don't know.
I mean, I
know part of declaring it, I think we might have missed whatever we need to do for Tree City USA last year.
Oh,
with all the craziness.
Got it.
So we were getting it in before the end of the year, so we meet our requirements for.
Every day is Tree Day.
It is.
There we go.
Gotta check off a box.
There we go. I understand now. I totally understand.
And especially on Friday, April 29th.
Yeah. extra tree that day. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Sorry, Mayor.
It's quite all right. And the second presentation, it will be more fun and informative, and that is introducing the new executive director of the West Side Economic Alliance. Bruce or Keith, or who's introducing Gail?
I can do it, Mayor.
Awesome.
I'll be very brief so we have enough time for Gail, but I'm delighted to introduce Gail Greenman. She's the new executive director of the West Side Economic Alliance, and she has an extensive background in policy advocacy, which I think is really essential. And her role is to be a visionary, strategic leader for the organization, and to work on governmental affairs and many other aspects of this great organization. So prior to her leadership role at WEA, Gail served as lead federal public affairs professional at the Oregon Farm Bureau, and she developed many relationships with the congressional delegation from Oregon. She also worked as the federal policy advisor in the educational area and director of governmental affairs for the National Association of Federally Impacted Schools. She was born very much in the heart of DC in Georgetown, and she was raised in the suburbs of DC. And she's developed just an early love of policy issues, and she's earned her bachelor's degree, I think, at Indiana University, and she currently lives in West Lynn with her husband and two daughters. So welcome, Gail.
Thank you so much, Bruce, for that kind and warm introduction. And Mayor Mays, I don't know, you set me up for a more fun. I don't know if I'm going to live up to that, but I'll try. So as Bruce said, I come to WEA with about 25 years, primarily in the federal policy realm. I started, born and raised in DC and the DC suburbs, and then started my career there. The first question I usually get asked is how I wound up in Oregon. I always say I did a really good job lobbying. I lobbied my husband, which is how we met. And 22 years later, the rest is history. So I've been out in Oregon for about 15 years now. It'll be 16, I guess, wow, 16 in the spring. So again, started with WEA on September 8th, so just after Labor Day, and it's been a whirlwind of a few months. Really wanted to thank Bruce. He reached out to me very early on, and I got an economic development tour of Sherwood, I guess in the early parts of October, I believe. And it seemed kind of fitting in this role. I've really been trying to reach out to all WEA members, and obviously Sherwood, Oregon, and the city of Sherwood is one of them. And so it seemed really fitting just to reach back out to Bruce and see if I could just make some public comment or get some time on the agenda. So I really appreciate you making time for me this evening. I have a very quick PowerPoint. I'm also very informal, so please do not holler or do not hesitate to holler, interrupt, or ask questions as I go through. I will just share my screen here, see if I can do this correctly. Okay. And there we go. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so what WEA is the West Side Economic Alliance. We are a nonprofit, not a 501c3, but nevertheless a nonprofit. We are member-based. We have predominantly 3 areas of membership. The first being business, second being affiliate. Business is private industry. Affiliates are nonprofits. And public members are cities like yourself. So I wanted to kind of delve into who and what our public members are a little bit more. They are obviously cities, and they are also counties. We do have Metro as our regional government as a member. They're also inclusive of school districts, special service districts, state agencies. So we have many different types of public members. We are operated and governed by our bylaws and our board of directors. And we primarily monitor local, regional, and state issues. That has somewhat also included federal issues in recent months, partly because of my background, but the other part about it is the big IIJA package and some other federal packages and additional money that we know is coming in to the state and specifically the West Side. We do have a committee structure. Our standing committees today are the Land Use and Housing Committee, our Transportation Committee, and our Government Affairs Committee. But I do expect those to be expanded upon in the early parts of 2022. We also offer a lot of networking opportunities. As you would imagine, those have not been in person since March of 2020. I can get into what some of those are in a little bit. We were hoping to have some more in person beginning next month. I think that will likely be delayed for obvious reasons, but talk a little bit about those networking opportunities in just a little bit. What makes us unique is we are most definitely, because of our membership that I just described, a public partner or public-private venture and membership, just really offering all entities and all members the ability to collaborate and bounce ideas off of each other. Again, those networking opportunities are on the macro level of things that I'll mention again in just a little while. They're also on the micro level. So really connecting people, saying, hey, Gail, I'm having a tough time and I need to talk to somebody in X city, or somebody in our public membership saying, hey, Gail, I'd really like to get more information on this specific issue. Can you connect me? And so really those are kind of some micro examples. And then obviously we're also an information and education sharing organization. So I love this graphic because of the public, private, and the gears. And WEA doesn't work unless both our public and private members are working together, obviously on the premise that we're better as a whole than we are separate, and knowing that each sector can do what it does best, which are very different things. And also explaining government to business and business to government. Obviously, they don't speak the same languages all the time, but really when we bring those two entities together, just the brainstorming and the innovation that happens is really kind of magical. So this is our vision statement. So obviously creating an environment conducive to business growth, serving as a unified voice, promoting and the viability for businesses to locate and expand and not only survive, but most definitely thrive. And then challenging and influencing policy decisions on the legislative and the regulatory level. And this is our value statement, obviously providing timely information to our members and providing the opportunities, those collaborative engagements, advocating again for key issues with one voice, hosting again, those networking, convening these events and bringing everybody to the same table together. So we are operated, as I said, and governed by a board of directors. We have a subset of that board that makes up our executive committee. I've listed those 8 wonderful people here. You can see that they come from a whole host of backgrounds and industries. And that is rounded out by our amazing board of directors. And those folks are listed right here. As I said before, with regard to our committee structure, it probably lends to the issues that we focus most on, but obviously housing, infrastructure, land use, transportation, UGB expansion, and workforce development. So I would say that in terms of our land use and housing committee, that mostly falls obviously to housing and land use, and also the UGB expansion. Transportation probably goes without saying. Both of those committees have some oversight in the infrastructure issue world, and then all of our committees dabble in the workforce development space. And these are our wonderful committee chairs. They are all members of our board of directors. One is a member of our executive committee, and you can see the folks that they work for next to their names. And then finally, we talked about, I mentioned some networking opportunities. We're very much known for our breakfast forums, which again, we were hoping we're going to be back in person in February. I do anticipate that that will likely be delayed. We have continued those breakfast forums online this entire time. So my first breakfast forum began with Congresswoman Bonamici in September, followed by Congressman Schrader in October. We hosted state economist Josh Lehner in November. And most recently, just before Christmas, we had Representative McLean, Senator Annette Cleveland from the Vancouver area, and Administrator Greg Johnson, and did a forum on the I-5, bridge concept and what that could look like. We will be hosting our WEA legislative reception this month on the 19th. We tend to be, normally this would be an evening event. For these meetings, we tend to be an early morning crowd. 7:30 to 9 is our sweet spot, and that's not in stone. But a lot of our meetings and the legislative reception will definitely begin from 7:30 to 9. So if that's something that you're interested in attending and haven't gotten the invitation, I can most certainly get you that information and that link. It will be virtual. Again, I mentioned early on business before breakfast. I'm going to really try to revive this concept as we, go back in or find what the new normal is. But business before breakfast is open to members. It's open to non-members. It's been historically been free of charge, and it's just an opportunity to go and tour and hear about a variety of different businesses on the west side. So we have our first two, they are ready to rock and roll whenever we are ready to go. So we're hoping to, again, kick that off sometime in late Q1, at latest Q2. And then again, offering those social gatherings. And obviously those have been limited. We have some ideas of stuff that we'd like to do in 2022. Again, it's all going to be dependent on how this pandemic proceeds. What we have done in person to date is our golf tournament and our golf scramble. While we don't have a date solidified, we are looking right now at the end of July. So that's something, it's great fun. It happened in August prior of 2021, prior to me coming on board. However, I did know I was coming on board, so I was able to attend the event. So that's just a little bit about WEA. Here's my contact information. I'll just leave that up for the next few seconds, and always feel free to contact me. But really, this was just an opportunity for, to put a face with a name. Sherwood is a very valued, let's see if I can end this broadcast. The city of Sherwood is a very valued member of the West Side Economic Alliance. And I just wanted to know that I am here as a resource for any of you. Always really wanted to thank Bruce for reaching out and offering me his time and the wonderful tour of Sherwood. I know he mentioned I live in West Lynn. I do spend quite a bit of time in Sherwood. It's been a little spotty in the pandemic, but my daughters, who are 10 and 12, are figure skaters. So we spend quite a bit of time, particularly in the 5 to 6 a.m. hour at that rink, and are very appreciative of the rink and everybody who works there. And lastly, and most importantly, I just wanted to really thank you guys, our elected officials. What you do is extremely difficult work. You put yourself out there, you put your name on the ballot. And I just really want to commend and thank you for your public service.
Thanks, Gail. Appreciate you being here, giving the presentation. I'm sure folks have questions. Give people an opportunity. You made friends already with Council President Rosner. He's a nice family.
I have a long history of the 5 a.m. trips to the ice skating rink. So,
as a parent now, I am very appreciative of my parents. I too was a figure skater, and it's takes on a different tone as a parent, but it's certainly fun to watch them.
And expensive.
Yes, that as well.
But it's okay. It only gets more expensive. I suspect. I have no true knowledge of that, but
it's awesome, and it's been wonderful for my daughter, and appreciate you coming out to Sherwood for that, and thank you for the presentation and stepping up to lead the WEA. I'm anxious for those breakfast meetings to get going again. Those were a lot of fun and great networking events, and we're glad to have you on board. And thanks for coming out tonight.
Thank you. I'm super excited to attend my first in-person breakfast forum, whenever that will be.
My only suggestion is when you have the mayor's forum, got to ask them a lot of tough questions. They get too many softballs. We want to see Keith sweat a little bit up there.
Absolutely.
And hopefully, Mayor Mays, that you've already received, I know somebody in our office was reaching out to all the mayors to try and solidify a date kind of on the earlier side, as opposed to rushing it through. So hopefully you've received that email. And if you haven't, please let me know.
Yep. It's all good. So here's a question: with you coming on board, is there, I didn't notice anything specifically, maybe I'm just not aware of all the intricacies, but has anything changed since you've been on the WEA? From the vision, goals, mission, or is it continuing on what it looked very similar, but was there any nuances or changes that have occurred since you joined?
So no changes to the value statement or the mission statement. The big changes have been kind of in the board. So we have a new officer in our treasurer position. We've also had some retirements, and very sad to see some folks go, but certainly wish them well in this next chapter. And so that's been the biggest change since I've been on board, is the board of directors.
Great. Other questions? Well, it's exciting to have you leading WEA, and I'm excited to see how it proceeds in the future. And look forward to I'll say it, I'm sort of lying, but I look forward to the mayor's forum. It is a big softball thing and not terribly informative. I typically find, so maybe it'll be different this year.
Well, I can say that from the attendees who watch you guys, they very much look forward to it. So
but it's just such generic stuff. So if I don't know.
So, but I really appreciate your time. Again, you are my first kind of city council member meeting. And so again, really appreciate your time. I know you have a bunch to do on your agenda. I know these meetings can go late, so I will not take up any more time. But Bruce, thank you so much for coordinating this, and I really appreciate it. And it's good seeing you.
Awesome. Thanks, Gail. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Okay. You too.
All right, moving on the agenda, city manager report. Keith, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you, Mayor and Council. As a city manager, I had my first experience with inclement weather, so I just wanted to take my
Keith,
this evening.
and I apologize. Don't we have another? We walked an agenda item on before we go to city manager report.
Oh, right.
No.
Yes, I did not update it. My virtual. Last year, Tim Rosner was our council president. Every January, we need to elect a council president. Tim did a great job. Appreciate him filling in, doing things for me last year. So taking nominations.
I'd like to nominate Tim Rosner to continue as council president.
Second.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Kim.
Any other nominations?
Tim, what's the time commitment been on that? Like, do you fill in for daytime meetings, nighttime meetings, all the above? You have to wear a Keith mask, or what do you have to do?
Well, during COVID, it's all been Zoom meetings, which definitely makes it easy without having to commute to meetings. But there are some day meetings, some night meetings, but it basically depends on Keith's schedule right now, whether I'm covering for him or not in the meeting. But there are some seasonal things that have been happening, which, I mean, some of this is not just open to council president, but it's open to actually anyone on council. But I'm on 3 of the Oregon League of Cities policy committees. And just today, in fact, I got a letter from the NLC. I just got appointed to the the Broadband and Telecommunications Committee at the federal level, which I think will be great for the city of Sherwood to give us another advocacy point in DC as we go after federal grants. So I'm looking forward to working on that stuff. But mostly it's just backing up Keith. I do meet with Keith and K2 once a week, and just to make sure that we're always in sync. So when I'm backing him up, we're not taking people in different directions out there. Helping out with the GPI small consortium meetings, but it's time commitment. It's more than just when I was a regular counselor, but it's not huge.
I guess my question is, you still have the flexibility and the time to be able to do that in your daily work schedule, and which could be a little bit more difficult for some of us Monday through Friday jobbers, but okay.
Yep,
great.
There definitely is daytime stuff, that's for sure. So my schedule makes that easy.
All right. Hearing no other nominations. All in favor of Tim continuing on as council president, say aye.
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 Opposed? Congratulations, Tim. Thanks for stepping up, doing it for 2022.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
And back on track after I neglected the amended agenda item. And Keith, in your first inclement weather experience.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Yeah, I just had the opportunity to experience my first inclement weather here in Sherwood, and I just wanted to take my time this evening to recognize Craig and the Public Works crew. I was impressed with their vision of looking out and recognizing the weather issues prior to the events happening well in advance, the planning that went into working to make sure we had something planned and implemented, and then the follow through, and just the work that they did during a challenging time period. So I really appreciate it. I received numerous comments from citizens regarding the work that they had done and the efforts that they had made. I appreciated the conversations I had with Craig, but mostly it was just me staying out of the way and supporting in any way I can. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Craig and the Public Works crew for their work during that challenging time.
Can I add to that, please?
Please.
I just want to say the work they do is amazing over in Public Works, and I appreciated their response and taking care of our roads during the inclement weather. But I just want to go one step further. I say this a lot. I always know when I leave Sherwood and go into another city because I start to hit potholes, and they do an amazing job here in Sherwood taking care of our roads and our infrastructure. And I don't think the general public realizes how much work goes into that. They do a great job, and it's one of the reasons we have a great city.
Here, here. Yes, I can always tell when you're leaving Sherwood and you're getting on other people's roads, whatever that means.
Yeah, I'd also like to
but
just thank you for sending us the frequent updates throughout the weather events. That's really nice and handy to get those from you. So I appreciate it.
You're here. Anything else, Keith?
Yeah, I just want to also briefly just touch upon recognizing the men and women of the police department who worked over the holidays and worked during those timeframes. And so I just wanted to give a quick shout out and recognize them as well, and appreciate that the work they do 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, including those times with holidays. So just a quick shout out to the police department as well.
You're here.
You're here.
And with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll turn over my time. Thank you.
Thanks, Keith. Questions for Keith or his team? All right. Council announcements. Volunteer or be called upon.
I'll go. So on the very top of my list was thank Public Works. It's right here, but everybody's done a great job at that. So I could just concur with what everybody said. Well, I will add that I think our downtown looked fabulous through the holidays with the lighting, but I do love Dave Sweeney's ideas as well. And then I just was quite amazed at our parade and tree lighting, our holiday parade and tree lighting that's sponsored by the Robin Hood Festival Association. It was really rainy, and we started out in the float and with nobody along the side of the street. We thought, oh, we're going to have so much candy left over. But by the time we got closer to the tree lighting, the streets were filled, people standing in the rain, in the pouring rain, just for this event that we put on. And it just, as I sat there in Cannery Square and watched how many people were there listening to our community choirs and whatnot, I thought, this is just, we are just so lucky for the community that we live in. And people come out, rain, sunshine, snow, sleet. I don't know if it was sleeting, if they would have been out, but I think they would have been. Santa Claus, hot chocolate, hot dogs, tree lighting, choirs. Anyways, it was just a fabulous event. And then the last thing I would say is, along with Council President Rosner, I've been selected to be on the League of Oregon Cities Finance and Taxation Policy Committee. So I'll be representing this coming year on that. So that is all I got.
Awesome. Thanks, Kim.
I'll go.
Russell? Great.
So I attended the Park and Rec Board meeting last evening, and I must admit the board is just really, they're on fire. In fact, they have requested that Kristen organize and schedule a work session sometime before their next meeting in February, where they can, get together or virtually get together and really dig into the Parks and Recs master plan now that it's finished, and figure out, okay, what do we want to focus on? What should we what should we work on? What kinds of recommendations should we give to council? What kinds of recommendations should we pass along to the city manager in regards to the budget, and what expenditures might we incur in terms of parks and equipments. I know that Craig has like a master plan of all of that. It's all very organized, and they really appreciate that. But they're just really focused on, well, what can we do? And they have said many times, we want to make sure we're getting in front of these opportunities to say, well, we know we want a park in Sherwood West. Let's really put some thought into that. I know the committee is working on that, and the Parks Board is ready, to maybe weigh in on that as well, or just, like in Brookman, or anything that we can do. Like Maya talked tonight about making it an age-friendly city. They're thinking about these kinds of issues, and they're just really getting into it. I just love it. So that will happen probably before the next meeting in February, a work session where they really dig into their master plan and they figure out what their objectives are going to be for this next year. So that's it.
Awesome. And certainly priorities in recommendations are important. So, this is our number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, because sometimes number 1 isn't possible.
Right.
And so but number 2 is possible. So let's chase number 2. As you just to be flexible,
Right.
Awesome. Excitement is good. Next. Renee?
I have a couple.
Yeah.
So at the library, they're looking for public input from the community to decide in which order to bring back some of the in-public events. So that is coming out. They won a grant through the Cultural Coalition for $2,000 to find ways, or to fund a program that will welcome and celebrate immigrants coming into the community of Sherwood. And that launched in September. There are 3 winter reading programs going on right now. So for adults and the teens and the kids. And then just wanted to remind everyone that the Chamber Annual Awards Dinner is coming up on February 24th at the Sherwood Center for the Arts. So we're looking for nominees for various businesses and business leaders, sponsors, and then attendees. So sign up for that. And then put on your calendar for May 14th. That is the next Sherwood Police Foundation Gala, and it will be held at Vine and Sparrow. There will be limited seats this year due to the size restrictions of the facility, but mark your calendars for May 14th. That's all I have.
Great. Thanks, Renee. Sean or Doug?
Yeah, I'll go. I don't have a lot of city updates. Our Cultural Arts Commission did meet in December, and they are continuing to work. They've got a full crew there now on the board, and they've got a very diverse group, and so they're a lot of turnover on that board recently. So we've got a lot of eager folks to come in with some great ideas there. We've got artists, photographers, poets. I mean, just an amazing group. So looking forward to seeing what they do coming up. Similar to what Renee was talking about, the Sherwood Foundation for the Arts is actually going to bring back their puzzle competition in person this year. Last year they held it virtually, but they're going to try and do that in person this year. It's going to be February 26th. Similar to what the Police Foundation is doing. It's going to be a limited number of attendees in order to be as safe as possible with COVID restrictions in place for that. If anyone's interested, the sign-ups for that are going to start, I believe, coming up in about a week or so. It's going to be on the sherwoodarts.org website if anybody is interested in that. Keep an eye out on that. So I'm very excited to see that come back to Sherwood, because that's been an event that has been very popular over the last, I think, 6 or 7 years now. So keep an eye on that if you're interested in doing jigsaw puzzles. That's all I have for tonight.
Awesome.
Couple of quick planning commission updates. First of all, there is a planning commission meeting scheduled for next Tuesday at 7 p.m. It does appear to be a pretty light agenda. However, on the following planning commission meeting on Tuesday, the 25th of January, there will be probably 3 public hearings. So if you're interested in learning about those, contributing, giving testimony, definitely tune in for that. And then one other note, the planning commission is currently seeking 2 new members to the commission to go with the 5 that are still on there. So you can go onto a Sherwood, Oregon website and apply to be on the planning commission or any of our other wonderful boards and commissions that may have current openings. So we need volunteers, and this is a great way to get involved in your community. Thank you, and Happy New Year to everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, Doug. And Tim?
Just a couple things. We had the CAC meeting for the Sherwood West Relook project mid-December. It was a good meeting. It was actually a meeting that was kind of repurposed in that we're really looking for our consulting group and the committee to really formulate some ideas and tools of how we can look at Sherwood West and grow Sherwood West in a positive way for Sherwood. There was a lot of conversation in the meeting around making sure the public is well informed about why we're doing this. You know, there's some misperceptions out there about. I talked to some folks who thought that Sherwood West, because we were doing this planning now, that they were going to start building houses in July, and didn't really understand the process. And I think the message, we need to tune our message a little bit to the community to make sure that they understand why we're doing it. It's not just because we want to develop land. It's really about, if we don't plan for what Sherwood West is going to look like, someone else might do it for us. And so it's really important that we stay on top of that as the city grows. But it was the last meeting was really good. I felt like the whole CAC is really coming together and clicking as a team. And it was just a really good meeting. Doug was in the meeting as well, and I really enjoyed that meeting. I just wanted to add to that on the park stuff for that, because I know, Russell, you brought that up, that has been a significant major conversation that's been happening with the CAC in terms of not just parkland, but we really need a signature park over there. You know, we have, in the last meeting, there was a lot of conversation around, okay, how do we make sure we're being equitable in terms of the ratio of people to parks on the east side and the west side of 99, or northeast and southwest, depending on how you look at the road. And just making sure that's really well thought out, and that we're allocating space and density appropriately to make sure that happens. So they are very, very focused on that. And I think I already mentioned the National League of Cities committee that I got appointed to. So I think that's all I have for. Oh, one more thing. The Sip and Spell is back this year in person, and it's scheduled for February 3rd at this point. So watch for that. You should start seeing some announcements coming on that. So, and for those who don't know, Sip and Spell is a fundraiser for the Sherwood Education Foundation. They do a lot of great things in our community and raise a lot of money that allows our teachers and associated education programs around the schools to really expand what they can do for our kids in the community. They do some great stuff. Sean, I believe you were once a speller at the Sip and Spell.
Yeah, it was probably 3 or 4 years ago I participated. It was a great time. A lot of celebrities from town, I guess you'd say, notable people, business owners, teachers, quite a few teachers up there, which was intimidating to try and outspell a teacher. But as I recall, I did okay, but I did not win. So, I had fun.
I think a teacher wins every year. I don't know how they.
I do believe a teacher won the year that I participated.
Rigged, clearly rigged.
I'll allow it. Yeah.
Competition, bunch of. Yeah.
It's a great event, though. Yep.
It is a great event. That's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Tim. Calendars are getting full. I mean, goodness, this is exciting. Wow. Very, very cool. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year, everyone. Great job, city staff. All corners of Sherwood staff. They did a fantastic job over the holidays. Decorations, the work to support the Robin Hood Festival Parade, and tree lighting was awesome. The winter event, handling the winter event was flawless. I was so impressed. You know, folks getting up in the middle of the night, you know, after the day after Christmas to get out there and help make things as easy as possible for businesses and families to get about who needed to get about. Was great. And our police department working around the clock to keep people safe, and the library staff doing a great job over the last 2 months of the holidays. Just it's great all the way around. And since my mother is now a volunteer at the senior center, I hear all the great things about our wonderful senior center. So that's cool.
I hear the lights are going to stay up longer this year, our downtown lights.
Yeah, Keith, it's going to go till the day after Valentine's Day.
That's correct.
That's very exciting. The lights look great. I don't think the Christmas tree, I did not notice, but I don't believe the Christmas tree itself will last that long. Heck, it might already be down. I did not notice as I drove through town the last couple of days. So that's great. Saturday did mark my first day as past president of the League of Oregon Cities. So I'm glad to be in that new post with the LOC. The year end was a little more active than I originally thought it would be with the board of League of Oregon Cities, but glad that's behind us as well.
Can I just say that I really appreciate all the work you did as president of League of Oregon Cities this year. It was a monumental year with COVID. I don't think the general public understands that being in that position gives us incredible access in Salem in terms of policy and direction that affects our city. So I appreciate you and all your work in that role. I know it wasn't easy.
Well, thanks, Tim. It takes a team, takes a committee, takes a group to do everything, do what we do. It takes the entire council with the league. It takes the entire board, and so I'm just one cog in the wheel. But thanks for the kind words.
That's your one compliment for the year. Thought I'd get it out of the way.
Fair enough, and I will send you a something in the mail. And it's great to be in the new year, and I'm hoping that we will be past this little crazy Omicron COVID thing, and everyone stays healthy and safe, and we get back to a new normal as soon as possible, like February, when we have all these events, which will be exciting. So anything else for the good of the collective? All right. Enjoy the rest of your night. Have a great week,
Thanks,
everybody.